Welcome to the Chop Seat, where Braves country meets the big leagues. Your host Vic is here to break down everything from truest part to the top of the standings across the league. From walk-offs to wild trades, this is your seat for everything baseball, but a heavy dose of chop. So grab your glove and settle in, because the Chop Seat is open.
Welcome to the Chop Seat, your favorite place for Braves, baseball, and the rest of the league. I'm your host, Vic, and today is Monday, September 29th. Listen, I was able to sleep good last night. I slept real good last night. I'll tell you why. Two reasons why. Besides having a great week with family and friends, it was a good time. But listen, this nightmare season for the Atlanta Braves is finally over. I can sleep in peace. I don't got to worry about waking up to notifications. Braves lost 7-4. Braves lost 8-2. I don't got to worry about that anymore. So I was able to sleep good because of that. But number two, the LOLMets, they strike again. They strike again, bro. What a collapse. And this was a slow collapse. Unbelievable. I don't understand how you guys, year after year, you guys never miss. And you guys always do it in a creative way. It's always something new, always something different. Listen, round of applause to you guys pulling this choke job. You just, I'm lost for words, bro. I don't even know how you guys pulled that off. I'm impressed. But listen, that is what happens when you are a priority franchise, LOLMets. Shout out to the LOLMets for popping up last day of the season, bro. You guys pulled it off. You guys never seem to amaze me. No pun intended, bro. No pun intended. Anyways, that is why I was able to sleep good. I was able to sleep like a baby, man. I still slept like a champ. Thankfully, the season, again, like I said, thankfully the season is over for the Atlanta Braves. We're able to just chill out, hopefully regroup, and come back strong next year. That's the goal. We'll see if they're able to do that. Besides that, though, we had an exciting weekend of baseball. We had some spots that were still needed to get locked up. We're going to talk about that, as I already alluded to it. The Mets, they didn't lock anything up. The only thing they locked was a trip to Acapulco. Forget Cancun. They took a trip to Acapulco. They took it back, bro. They took it back. Probably in 86, Acapulco was probably the hot spot in Mexico. It wasn't Cancun like it is nowadays, or Isla Mujer, or whatever it's called. They took a trip to Acapulco. They booked it yesterday afternoon. Anyways, we're gonna see what happened around the league this weekend. Just looking at the teams that we're gonna continue to talk about going forward. We're not gonna look at the other series. Unfortunately, sorry if you're one of those teams. We won't talk about you guys. We won't talk about you guys at all. And then we're gonna preview the first round. That's gonna be starting tomorrow afternoon. 1:00 is the first game of the wild card round. So we're gonna look at the matchups. We're gonna talk some predictions by yours truly. We'll see how everything goes down. So, anyways, let's head into our very first segment.
It's time for Tomahawk Takes.
It's time for Tomahawk Takes, where we take a look at the previous Braves series. This is going to be the last Tomahawk Takes of the season. But before we get into it, Tomahawk Takes is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use code CHOPSY20 to save $20 off your first purchase on SeatGeek. The MLB playoffs start tomorrow afternoon. The first round, the wild card round. Get your tickets now at SeatGeek. Use code CHOPSY20 to save $20 off your first purchase. Listen, Super Bowl, Bad Bunny's going to be at the Super Bowl apparently next year, or February. I don't know how you guys are feeling about that. I could care less, but listen, if you want to, I don't know if Super Bowl tickets are on sale already, but whenever they do drop, put code CHOPSY where it says promo code on SeatGeek, and you're going to save $20 off your first purchase by using code CHOPSY20. That's all I got when it comes to CHOPSY20. But listen, this is what happened last series for the Braves. Braves lose this series. They lose this series. They lose the first two games. They're able to win the final game of the 3-game set. I'm just gonna talk about the exciting stuff. Game 1, it was a 9-3 victory for the Pirates. That's not that exciting. But Matt Olson, he was able to hit homer number 29 of the season. He hit that in the bottom of the first. Joey Wentz, he started for the Braves. He goes 4 innings, 8 hits, allowed 4 runs. All those earned 2 walks, 3 Ks. He takes the L in this one. He's now 5-7 with a 5.60 ERA to end the year. The Braves scored early. They took an early lead in the bottom of the first, like I said, thanks to Matt Olson's 29th homer of the season. Pirates, they scored 4 in the tie with the second. Michael Harris, though, he's able to hit a homer. That's number 20 of the season for him. He hit that in the bottom of the sixth. That made it a 2020 season for Michael Harris. Drake Baldwin, one of the biggest bright spots for the Braves this season. He's able to get an RBI double in the bottom of the seventh. That made it 5-3 Pirates, but that's all the Braves could get. Again, they end up falling this one 9-3. Game 2, it was Pittsburgh winning this one as well. 3-1 victory for Pittsburgh. Spencer Strider, he goes 6 innings, 8 hits, allowed 3 runs, allowed all three of those earned 2 walks, 5 Ks. He ends the season with a 7-14 record and a 4.45 ERA. Bottom of the second, Marcell Ozuna, he hits an RBI single, driving in Drake Baldwin, who had tripled to open the inning. That's the only run that the Braves are able to get in this ball game. The Pirates scored 3 against Strider. Matt Olson, Brian Snitker, they both get ejected. Terrible call. I thought Matt Olson was this is what happened. He pops it up. Catcher runs into him while he's standing in the batter's box. I thought as long as you're standing in the batter's box, you're safe. That's your safe spot. Catcher ends up dropping the ball, and they call Matt Olson out because of that bump where the catcher ran into him. Matt Olson didn't run into the catcher. The catcher ran into Matt Olson. They call him out. Matt Olson's like, dude, where am I supposed to go? He has nowhere to go. And like I said, I thought being in the batter's box was your safe spot. It's like when, let's say there's a runner on second, you got a righty batter running on second, stealing third. Catcher tries to throw to third, and he hits the batter with the ball. If you're inside the batter's box, it's fair game. You're good. It's going to hurt a little bit, but it's not interference because you're still in the batter's box. I thought it was the same rule when it comes to if you're hitting a pop-up. I honestly, I've never seen this before, but I was assuming it was the same play. Again, they call him out. Brian Snitker comes out. Matt Olson's arguing with what's his name, Brock Balu. That I might not be pronouncing it correctly, but he's the home plate umpire. He ejects both of them, and then he had another bad call later on. I think it was in the bottom of the eighth. Jurickson Profar, he has both feet are in the batter's box. He's looking at the pitcher. Pitcher's not looking at him yet, and he calls him out on automatic strike call. He calls him out. Honestly, I think the dude had money on the game, bro. You just be honest. You had money on the game. Just say it, bro. Just say it in the post-game interview. That's why you made those calls. He probably had the Pirates -1.5 or whatever it's called. Listen, just call it what it is, bro. But don't be making these bogus calls. What saved him is that the Braves suck this year. Because imagine if this was a big, big game that the Braves needed to win. That's what saves them, that it's a lost season, and that's why we're not going to talk about it too much. About terrible calls. I mean, these guys got to be held accountable, bro. These umpires got to be held accountable with any of these calls. It's not just the balls and strikes that they're calling. That's what I know they're going to put the ABS system to be able to, manage that a little bit, but they got to be able to manage all these other calls that they're making. Whether it's a hit down the line that goes over the bag and they call it foul and it's really fair, you can review that. And all these calls should be reviewable. They should be reviewable. These guys need to be held accountable, bro. It's pretty crazy. It's disgusting, honestly. It changes the game. It takes the fun out of the game sometimes. The way these guys are making these calls. But anyways, good thing is a lost season because it didn't really mean much. This guy this home plate umpire, Brock Balu or Balu, I don't know how to pronounce it. He had money on the game, bro. I'm gonna go out and say it. Nobody's gonna say it. I'm gonna say he had money on the game. I get it. He was trying to lock that parlay in, and that's why he made those crazy calls. But bro, come on, you got to be held accountable. Anyways, that was the way the Braves lost. Game 1 and Game 2. Game 3, though, Jovan Oviedo was starting for the Pirates. Charlie Morton was on the mound for the Braves, making what's possibly his last career start. Chris Sale actually gave him the nod to be able to have him start the game. It was Chris Sale was scheduled to start it, but Chris Sale being, honorable guy, he gives Charlie Morton the start, letting him start where he last. Well, excuse me, letting him start where he first came up, the organization that he first came up, and against the team where he was traded to. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was traded. He was in that Nate McLeod trade. I don't know if anybody remembers that. Nate McLeod traded to Atlanta. Didn't really pan out, honestly. It was a bit disappointing, to be honest. So, yeah, anyways, he was able to face the Pirates, the team that he was traded to. Full circle for him. He went 1 1/3, 2 hits, no runs allowed, 1 walk and 1 strikeout. He had that strikeout on the top of the second inning. And after that strikeout, Brian Snitker comes out. And Chris Sale comes in. He gets a huge ovation. He's removed from the game. He deserves it, man. Charlie Morton deserves an ovation like that. It might be the last career start. I think he should end it like that. I mean, he had a nice career. Championships, a couple of championships, actually. The last one with the Braves in 2021. So, not to Charlie Morton, bro. Charlie Morton did his thing. He deserved that ovation. Chris Sale, after coming in, he goes 5 2/3, 4 hits allowed, 1 run, just one. Just that was earned, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts for Chris Sale. Man, I really wish this guy would have stayed healthy, man, the entire year. I really wish he didn't freaking dive against the Mets. That almost complete game shutout that he had, that was like the last strand of hope we had. And once he went down, bro, and then SHOWI went down, it was over, bro. But anyways, you can't go back in time. But after he's been back from that injury, man, he's been solid, bro. Super solid. He goes again 5 2/3. Iglesias, he comes in. He gets saved number 29 of the season. Ronald Acuna Jr., he hits a 2-run homer in the bottom of the first. He ends with 21 homers for the season. Drake Baldwin, he grounded into a force out. There was a throwing error by the shortstop. He reaches safely. Olsen scored. Matt Olsen also had an RBI single in the game that made it 4-1. That happened first, and then the Baldwin force out that made it 4-1 Braves. Iglesias, he comes in, gets a save number 29 of the season. It's the final game of the season for the Braves and the final win. And they end up in the year 75 and 85. That's after having 2 7-game win streaks. Terrible season for the Braves. They had a nice 10-game win streak to try and reverse the course a little bit towards the end of the season, but obviously it was not enough. Still 10 games under. I feel like if you give us another month, maybe, just maybe, we would have got to 500. And even so, I still don't think so. If you're a Pirates fan, you're listening to this show, Pirates end up 70 and 90. It is what it is. That's kind of Pirates baseball right there. 70 and 90. But yeah, man, I like I said in the opening, I'm glad the season's over. It was a long season. We thought we wouldn't have a season as bad as last year's 2024. This one definitely took the cake. And hopefully this is it. Hopefully that doesn't happen next year, where next season is worse than this one. But we'll see. We're going to have to see what Anthopoulos does after the World Series is over. We still got a good month to wait to see what happens then. Brian Snitker news. No Brian Snitker news. That's the biggest mystery right now. We don't know what Snitker is going to do or what Anthopoulos is going to do with Snitker. We don't know if he's coming back or if he's going to hang it up. Honestly, I'm starting to lean that he's coming back, bro. I'm starting to lean he's going to come back to manage the 2026 season because we haven't heard anything yet. I feel like we would have heard something by now. There's actually 2 managers that already got the boot. I saw that earlier today. I was going to leave this for the next MLB segment, but why not? We just throw it in here now. The Minnesota Twins and Rocco Baldelli have decided to part ways. Baldelli's been fired, and Bob Melvin and the San Francisco Giants, they've decided to part ways as well. He has been fired from his position. So 2 manager moves already, but nothing nothing brewing here with Brian Snitker. So we're gonna have to wait and see what the Braves and Brian Snitker decide to do. So listen, that's all I have for Tomahawk Takes. Now we're gonna head into our next segment.
It's time for the MLB.
It's time for the MLB, where we take a look at the action from around the league. And it was pretty much a few series we had to keep an eye on. We're not going to talk about every series, but these are the series that we're going to keep an eye on. We had the Baltimore Orioles at the New York Yankees and the Tampa Bay Rays at the Toronto Blue Jays. Remember, the Yankees and Blue Jays came tied into the weekend with the Blue Jays owning the tiebreaker. The Yankees, they win game number 1, 8-4. Toronto, they win game number 1, 4-2. They're still tied up heading into Saturday. Saturday, Yankees win that one 6-1. The Blue Jays win their game 5-1. And then game number 3, going tied into game 162, the Yankees, they're able to win 8 straight ball games. They win that one 3-2. They bring out the brooms at home against the Baltimore Orioles. But the Blue Jays, led by Alejandro Kirk, 2 homers for him, 6 RBIs in the final game, 13-4 victory for the Toronto Blue Jays over the Tampa Bay Rays. That gives the Blue Jays the AL East title for 2025 Yankees. Congratulations, you're in the playoffs, but you will be facing off the Boston Red Sox in the first round. Talking about the Red Sox, they were playing against the Detroit Tigers, who are currently tied in the AL Central with the Cleveland Guardians. Boston Red Sox, they beat them game number 1, 4-3. Tigers are able to come back in game 2. They win that one 2-1. They're tied up going into Sunday's action because the Cleveland Guardians, they lose game 1, 7-3. But then they're able to tie the division again by winning the second game on Saturday 3-2. So they're tied up heading into Sunday's action. Fortunately for the Detroit Tigers, they lose the final game, 4-3 victory for the Boston Red Sox. That clinches the AL Central for Cleveland. The Tigers pull off a 15.5 game choke job. Cleveland's come back being down 15.5 games in the division. 11 games, I think, in the beginning of September. So they back heavy. Big comeback for them. They're able to cap the season off with a walk-off hit, a 3-run walk-off homer by Brian Rocchio. 9-8 victory there for the Cleveland Guardians in the bottom of the 10th inning. Again, they pull an impressive comeback to win the division. 15.5 games, a historic comeback. You can't say any lead is safe now after they pulled that off. I mean, even if you're 20 games back, you might have a chance. No lead is safe now, as we saw, thanks to the Cleveland Guardians. But hey, great comeback for them. At least for the Tigers, they're still in the playoffs. Bad thing is they're going to have to play who? The Cleveland Guardians. They're going to have to play them to start it off. But anyways, then we go to the other series that we had to keep an eye on. Cincinnati Reds were playing the Milwaukee Brewers on the road, and then the New York Mets were playing the Miami Marlins. Remember, these two teams were tied as well heading into the action on Friday. The Marlins, they're able to win the first game against the Mets 6-2 on Friday. The Cincinnati Reds are able to beat the Brewers 3-1. That gives them a 1-game lead in the wild card race for the final spot. Game number 2, though, the Mets, they come back. They win 5-0, while the Cincinnati Reds are able to win game number 2, 7-4 victory there for them. That actually kept them tied. I'm bugging out. That's when they were tied heading into Sunday's action. Because remember, the Mets were actually a game up coming into Friday's action over the Reds. When the Reds won that one, that tied it up. They both win on Saturday. They're tied up heading into Sunday's final game, game 162. What happens then? The Brewers are able to beat the Reds 4-2. So the Reds lose that game. That game concluded first. So watching the Mets game, right? They're showing the scoreboard, the finale. Reds have lost, but what is happening is that the Mets are down themselves. They're down. They have to win this game in order to continue playing in the postseason. But that is not what. Listen, the Miami Marlins, they moved all the best starters. They pushed them back in order to line up against the Mets. That's the ultimate troll job. Yeah, they were thinking just in case we do have a chance to make the wild card. They remember the Marlins were just eliminated. I believe it was Thursday night. So they were banking on hopefully beating the Phillies and then coming the season coming down to this series for them against the Mets, who were they were ahead of them. But again, they were eliminated, but they had still pushed their starters back to face the Mets, and they were going to make the best of the situation. They moved Sandy Alcantara back. They pushed Eduardo Cabrera, who pitched on Sunday. He pitched phenomenal. And Eury Perez, who pitched on Saturday. Edward Cabrera, bro, he shuts the Mets out. The rest of the staff shuts the Mets down. It was a 4-0 victory for the Miami Marlins against the New York Mets. The Mets are eliminated from playoff contention in game 162. Steve Cohen, after spending all that money, nothing to show for it. You got beat by the Miami Marlins. Pete Alonso stirring the pot already. He could have waited a little bit to release this news. But post-game, he announces that he is planning on opting out of his contract. He could have waited a little bit. It was too soon, bro. It was too soon. He starts stirring the pot for the Mets already. Pete Alonso, you are now the DH for the Atlanta Braves in 2026. Marcell Ozuna, you are now a New York Met. He's going to be the DH for the New York Mets. I wish that would happen. That would be funny, but it's probably not going to happen. What happened? What else happened? Saturday, the Houston Astros were eliminated from playoff contention. The first time they will be out of the playoffs since 2016. It's crazy to say. It sounds crazy. The Braves since 2017, the Astros since 2016. It's going to be weird to not see the Astros in the playoffs this year, but Yankee fans are happy as heck, I'll tell you that. Yankee fans did not want to see these guys in the playoff series, so they were popping bottles when they saw that. Who else we had playing? We had the Dodgers playing the Seattle Mariners. That was maybe a World Series preview, depending on who you got. Shohei Ohtani, he hit homer number 55 in Sunday's game. Dodgers sweep that series. Cubs, they sweep their series against the St. Louis Cardinals. They're getting ready for the playoffs. Phillies, they take 2 out of 3 against the Minnesota Twins. Who else we got here? I think that's it for all the playoff teams, right? We mentioned the Brewers and the Reds. They were playing that series together. The San Diego Padres, they sweep the Arizona Diamondbacks in their series. And then all the rest of the series are a series of scrubs, so we won't get too into it. But that's what went down. It was an exciting last day, day 162, where we had 3 teams. Well, we had 2 teams fighting for that final wildcard spot in the National League. And then we had 2 divisions that we were waiting to see who was going to end up on top in the American League, the American League Central and the American League East. The Guardians winning the AL Central, the Blue Jays winning the AL East. So we didn't know what teams were going to be in it when it comes to the American League. We just didn't know who was going to be positioned where. So we were able to find that out in game 162. And then in the wild card, we had 2 teams left with 1 spot, and we saw who ended up turning up with that final spot. So listen, this is the playoff picture for now. This is what we have. This is what we're going to get. I'm going to put it here in whoever's on the video version of this podcast is going to be able to see the postseason picture. Let me take this logo out and this QR code real quick so we can see who is going to be there. So this is who we got. We got the Detroit Tigers at the Cleveland Guardians, the 6 and 3 seeds. We got the Boston Red Sox at the New York Yankees, the 5 and 4 seed. The Mariners and the Blue Jays both getting byes. And the National League, we got the Cincinnati Reds at the Los Angeles Dodgers, the 6 and 3 seeds. And the San Diego Padres against the Chicago Cubs, 5 and 4 seeds. And the Brewers and the Phillies are going to get their first round byes. So listen, let's look at who's pitching for these. Let's see who's starting. these series. Let me just put this logo back. I'm trying to put this logo back, man. Why is it not working for me? Here we go. Let's put this QR code back up. There we go. So this is what is going to go down for game number 1. The wild card round starts tomorrow afternoon, 1:08 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to have the Detroit Tigers at the Cleveland Guardians. Tarek Skubal is going for the Detroit Tigers. He's going up against Gavin Williams. That's going to be on ESPN. Game 2 of that series is TBD, good friend TBD, starting for the Detroit Tigers, going up against Tanner Bybee for the Cleveland Guardians. And then game number 3 is going to be TBD, going on back-to-back nights against Laisha Coney for the Cleveland Guardians. When it comes to this series, I got to go Guardians in 3. Got to go Guardians in 3. Guardians obviously going up, trending up. Detroit Tigers, they've been slowing down some. I think the Guardians are going to have the edge. They had the edge in the regular season against them. Obviously, they had the tiebreaker. Obviously, they win the division. And I just got to go. I got to go Cleveland Guardians when it comes to this series. Let me know in the comments, who do you think is going to win this series in the first series of the wild card round? Remember, game 1 is going to be Tuesday afternoon, tomorrow afternoon, 1:08 p.m. Eastern time. So let me know, who do you guys think is winning this one? Next series, the San Diego Padres at the Chicago Cubs. Game 1 is going to be on ABC, 3:08 p.m. Eastern time. Game 1, Nick Pivetta going up against Matthew Boyd. Game number 2 is going to be Dylan Cease against TBD. And then game number 3, Yu Darvish going up against TBD for the Chicago Cubs. No surprises by the Padres. There's nothing, you know, who they're throwing out there. And listen, I gotta go Padres. Padres are the 19 to win. I predicted the Padres to win. I think it was right after the All-Star break or right before the trade deadline. When they went all in. They got Mason Miller, JP Sears, a bunch of other guys. Ryan O'Hearn. Who else am I missing? Ramon Laureano. A few other guys. They went all in. They traded their top prospect, Leo DeVries, to the Athletics to get Mason Miller, JP Sears. So I got to go Padres. I'm thinking Padres in 3. I'm going to go Padres in 3. That's how I think the series is going down. Again, let me know who you think is going to win this series between the San Diego Padres and the Chicago Cubs. Next, we got the Boston Red Sox at the New York Yankees. That's going to be a 6:08 p.m. Eastern start time. It's going to be on ESPN. It's going to be Garrett Crochet against World Series champion, 2021 champion, Max Fried. That's going to be a great game 1 starting pitching matchup. Game number 2 is going to be Brian Bello for the Boston Red Sox going up against Carlos Rodon. And then game number 3, it's TP against Cam Schlitter. Remember, all these game 3s are if necessary. That's why most of them are TBD. But I'm going Yankees in 3, bro. I think the Yankees win game 1. Max Fried on the mound. I'm a little Max Fried biased. I'll be honest. I'm Max Fried biased. Game 2, I think Brian Bello is gonna come out. He's a dog. I think he's gonna deal game 2. And then game 3. Listen, I don't know who's pitching for the Red Sox. It's probably gonna be a low scoring affair because usually when you think it's a high scoring affair, it's gonna be a low scoring affair. But it's gonna be some clutch hitting by the New York Yankees. That's how they advance to the next round. That's what I'm going. So we're going Yankees in 3. This one, let me know what you guys are thinking. AL East matchup to start the playoffs with a wild card round. And remember, whoever wins this one's gonna be facing the Toronto Blue Jays, who are going to be waiting with that first round bye. And then the final series that we have is the Cincinnati Reds at the Los Angeles Dodgers. Game 1, 9:08 p.m. Eastern time. That's going to be on ESPN. Hunter Green on the mound for the Cincinnati Reds against TBD for the Dodgers. Dodgers are going TBD the entire series so far. They haven't shown their hand. They haven't shown who's going to be starting any of their ball games. And actually, besides game 1, the Reds, they also got TBD written down. So in this one, I gotta go. Before I get into that, the Clayton Kershaw, he's not gonna be in the wild card round. He's not gonna be in the roster. So depending on how that goes, Sunday might have been his last career start, but we'll see what ends up happening. I gotta go Dodgers in 3 in this one. Dodgers in 3. I'm thinking the Reds win that first game with Hunter Green on the mound. He's been pretty good this season. But the Dodgers bounce back. They win the next 2 games. They advance to the next round. Something about the Dodgers, man. I think they just cruise. They haven't been as good as we thought they were going to be. And I think they were just waiting till the playoffs to start so they could start going crazy. And I think they were just cruising. They were in cruise control. Now they're about to turn up in the playoffs. So I'm going to go Dodgers in 3. So all the series, I think they're all going 3. Cleveland in 3. San Diego Dodgers in 3. New York Yankees in 3. And the Los Angeles Dodgers in 3. That's who Vic from the Chops he has. Let me know your thoughts when it comes to those first round matchups. Then the DS round, the division series, is going to be starting on Saturday, October 4th. It's going to be the Phillies against either the Cincinnati Reds or the Dodgers, Milwaukee Brewers against the San Diego Padres or the Chicago Cubs. And then in the American League, it's going to be the Seattle Mariners against the Detroit Tigers or the Cleveland Guardians. And then Toronto Blue Jays against the Boston Red Sox or the New York Yankees. All times are TBD. As of right now, of course, they'll be updated as these first round series go on. But yeah, that's what we have for the first wild card round, man. I'm excited for it. I'm excited. Can't wait for tomorrow. And like I had said in the previous episode, it's bittersweet that the Braves aren't in the playoffs. Obviously, you want the Braves to be in the playoffs. I want the Braves to be in the playoffs. So we can root for a championship, hopefully a championship team, but that's not how it's going down. But I'm actually going to be able to just sit back, relax, and enjoy some playoff baseball without getting nervous, without having to pace around the living room watching the game. That's going to be enjoyable. So even though my team's not in it, I love baseball, and I'm going to be able to enjoy this playoff showdown that we're going to have. So it's going to be a very exciting one. Remember, I got Padres over Toronto Blue Jays. I can't go back on my word. That's who I got. Padres over the Toronto Blue Jays for the 2025 World Series Championship. Anyways, that is all we have. Let me take this music down. This thing is too lit right now. This thing's too lit. There we go. That's all we have when it comes to the MLB. We're not going to do no Braves forecast because there is no Braves forecast right now. There's no upcoming Braves series. So that segment has been retired till further notice till 2026. We're gonna keep on with the Tomahawk takes. If we have any Braves news, we'll discuss that when it comes to the Tomahawk takes segment. But besides that, it's gonna be all MLB for the rest of the season. So you'll be hearing that techno beat more often. So anyways, thank you guys for tuning in to the Chop Seat. Make sure you listen, follow, subscribe to the show. Share the links, man. Share the links. Share the shorts. Shorts are very popular. I appreciate you guys showing love to the shorts. And yeah, we're gonna try and do a series by series. I was gonna see if I can do daily shows, maybe in the further rounds. But as of right now, we're gonna just keep doing a series by series. So we'll be talking on Friday before the division series gets underway. We'll see if any of my predictions hold up. We'll see how that goes. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Chop Seat.